Lynn Wakefield says it was the best Mother's Day present she could have ever had. Last night, her daughter, 22-year-old Rachel, underwent a much-needed double lung transplant.
But while there is plenty to cheer about in the Wakefield household, another patient is back home tonight with little to celebrate. David Reardon spent 12 hours at the hospital yesterday, knowing he'd only get his operation if Rachel didn't get hers. And for the 9th time, he was sent home disappointed. Alison Wood reports.
Unconscious but recovering, just 24 hours after first getting the call, Rachel was safe in intensive care with a new pair of lungs.
Got woke up this morning with a phone call saying she's out of surgery, which was fantastic.
Absolutely amazing. Over the moon. I can't believe it's finally happened.
Today's relief a sharp contrast to yesterday's fear.
It's a scary part now of the operation, you know.
Just before 6 last night, Lynn and Phil kissed their daughter goodbye and sent her for a 10-hour operation.
Well, it was like the longest day of my life. We were just so on edge. We really thought that it wouldn't go ahead.
Despite years of tests and hospital stays, no one really knows what caused Rachel's condition. We first filmed her 4 years ago when a family pet was blamed. Now tests will be carried out on her old lungs to try to find the problem. Nonetheless, she's one of the lucky ones. So far, David isn't.
You thought about the end, wondering whether this is the time, it's going to happen to you.
Like Rachel, he spent 12 long hours in hospital yesterday waiting to see if he'd get his transplant. He needs one lung, but would only get it if Rachel didn't get hers. This was the 9th time he'd been through the process.
As much as you're hopeful that it's your turn and that it's the right one for you, you've also got in the back of your mind that there's somebody else in the ward who's also thinking the same thing. And I'm very happy for the girl that got them, because they were used and somebody's benefited from it. It's just not my turn this time.
And somewhere else in the north, another family is grieving. Their loss, the only reason Rachel is getting this chance.
We just feel for the family, who donated lungs, and we do appreciate everything that they've done.
Rachel still has much recovering to do, but within months could be back on her feet and living the normal, active, exciting life other young women get to live. Alison Wood, BBC North West Tonight, Wythenshawe.
Well, we're joined now by Mr. Nizar Yonan, who's the Director of Transplantation at Wythenshawe Hospital and a transplant surgeon. And Mr. Yonan, Rachel waited 4 months and then got the double lung transplant, and there we had David, 9 times he's been to get one. It is such a lottery, isn't it?
It is, and regretfully, this is a story we see fairly often. I have a patient, I think he's been called 12 times before he got a transplant. It's regretful, and the reason because there are shortage of donor organs, and we have a sizable number of the waiting list waiting for a small number of donors. And the choice of organ depends on size and blood group and so on, so it is a bit of a lottery, I'm afraid, on the night.
But staying with the good news, what's Rachel's prognosis now?
Well, its prognosis is very good from now on, because the operation went very well. I've seen her a couple of times. The last time was about 5 o'clock this evening. Her new lungs are working well. It's a matter of work in progress. Next few days will be vital, but hopefully she'll be home within a few weeks.
And the other good news is, of course, that since we started this story on Rachel, in the Northwest alone there have been 10,000 new donors. Just tell us a bit about that. The people who don't donate, why don't they?
Well, I think we've always have problem with the consent for donors. So we have donors who their families don't consent, and I know there is a huge emphasis to ask people to put themselves on the donor registry, and we still have a problem. I think the consent rate remain possibly just under 60%. So still 40% of donors don't get consent for being donors by their families, and that's where being on the donor register would help, because the minute you're consented, very likely the family will not obstruct the process, and they will take your wishes forward and allow you to be donating.
Right. So our time is up. We must leave it there. Thank you very much for coming and talking to us. Thank you.
But if you do want to sign up to the organ donor register, you can either go to the website organdonation.nhs.uk and fill in your details, or you can phone 0300 123 2323.
Sport now. David Beckham's return to Old Trafford was